A normal Russian family suddenly gains amazing powers and becomes invulnerable. Grandfather becomes immortal, the father can teleport, the son communicates with animals, and the daughter bends iron and disappears. The reason for the abrupt change in the family is a meteorite fall, and the power functions only when all members are around. Delighted by the gift of luck, the little family of superheroes plans to rob a bank. Spoiler ahead, watch out! It's a dark night on the Russian shore, and Oleg is assisting a group of smugglers in stealing 1 ton of caviar on a small boat. The sailor he's recruited objected to the proposal, reminding him that his boat can only carry 600 kilograms, and refused to change his opinion even when Oleg offered him additional money. This is insufficient for Oleg to quit. He pretends to contact his wife, but instead speaks to the smuggler, telling him to say the load is 600 kilograms so the sailor's willing to take it. The trick works, and Oleg loads his ton of caviar onto the boat. However, they are unable to travel far enough. The boat and cargo gradually sink, and the men are forced to swim to the shore. When the sailor seeks compensation for the harm done to his boat, Oleg gives him his sleek new car, leaving him with the sailor's old vehicle and a 1 million debt to the smugglers. The next day, Oleg comes to meet his girlfriend Sveta at the bank where she works, to ask to get a loan, but she refuses due to the fact that has not paid off the loan that he already has. Sveta suggests another solution. They may ask her family for assistance because they own a home. They drive to their house where the whole family lives together. Sveta's father, Boris, enjoys singing weird songs and has not left the house in 5 years, given that he's a wanted man, and her maternal grandfather, Pavel, wishes that he might have died already. Her sister Rita, who is employed as an accountant for a theater but wishes to become a performer, her brother Tolik, who is interested in joining the army but fails to due to his asthma, and her sister Sasha, a little girl who daydreams about turning into a mature woman and experiences a crush on Sveta's boyfriend. When Boris finally listens to what he is saying, he panics, believing that selling the house is comparable to selling his loved ones into slavery. Oleg tries to explain to them that no one would lose anything. All he wants is a guarantor's letter. However, it's ineffective because Boris's answer continues to be no. Their argument is suddenly cut short when a meteorite falls through the ceiling and lands in the middle of the home, striking Pavel. At first, the family rushes outside, believing they are being attacked, but when they see a meteorite shower in the sky and head back inside in order to check on their grandfather. After putting him to bed, Oleg and the siblings begin digging to find the meteorite to sell, but the siblings fall asleep one by one, leaving Oleg to dig alone. He continues until the morning when he discovers Pavel calling him from his bed to inform him that he is ready to die. Oleg rushes to call an ambulance for help, but Pavel refuses. He has lived long enough and would like to leave this world in peace. After double-checking Pavel's pulse to ensure it is real, Oleg rushes to Sveta to deliver the news. Yet she has fallen asleep and refuses to pay attention. Oleg eventually falls asleep right next to her, and once Tolik returns, he notices Sveta is gone. Oleg follows Tolik into the living room and discovers that the meteorite has turned into an unusual liquid. Sasha has superhuman strength, and Rita can fly. Sveta appears a moment later, half her body invisible, and Pavel shockingly accompanies them, alive and well. Yet as Rita loses control of her new talent and rises through the hole in the ceiling, she soon falls to the ground, and Pavel passes away once again as Sveta becomes completely visible. After helping Rita back inside and tying her down so she can't float again, prompting Pavel to awaken, they conclude that the meteorite has granted them exceptional abilities. It seemed like these special talents only work when they are all together. They visit a doctor to inquire about it, but the doctor claims they are healthy and nothing is wrong with their bodies. Later during dinner, they discuss what they should do with their powers. Rita would like to perform, while Pavel believes people will try different things on them no matter what they do. Oleg suggests that the family go on television and be paid for it, but Boris refuses to allow his family used in this way. The next morning, Pavel attempts suicide, but his family doesn't allow him. Boris finds his teleportation power while he goes into the bathroom, and the family decides they need some time away to deal with it. Their group heads to a lake to fish, and Oleg tells them about the plan he has made. They should team up to rob a bank. Sveta is invisible, therefore she only must make her way and then walk out bearing the bag of money when everyone else sits in the car nearby to maintain her ability. Boris continues to reject this idea. Oleg gets in the car, angry, and Sveta follows him after asking the family to keep Pavel's body in the basement until they return. On the drive, Oleg tries to prove to Sveta that his scheme is a good idea, but they are forced to pull aside by another car. The smugglers want their money. Oleg promises them he will get it in a month, but they refuse to accept it. He has to pay them in a week, or they'll sell his organs on the Chinese black market. After the smugglers leave, Sveta realizes that Oleg's debt is more than simply money. It also puts his life in danger, so she agrees to help him. Sveta eventually stands up for herself and makes her father agree to rob the bank. After planning how they'll carry it out, the family celebrates their new life. And Sasha continues to disturb Oleg and Sveta while they try to spend some alone time together. The next morning, she even applies makeup to impress Oleg. Oleg is shocked when all of his family members begin setting down conditions for him to collaborate. Pavel wishes to be cremated afterwards the robbery, Rita wants to fly in front of an audience, and Sasha wants to go out on a date with him. Oleg believes they are asking for excessive amounts and wants to assist, but Boris scolds him and tells him that if he wants to be an integral member of the family, he must help them in exchange or the transaction will be terminated, so Oleg is forced to satisfy everyone's requests. Oleg finds out his power while in bed with Sveta. He can pour water from his finger, which Sveta mentions is useful for watering the plants. The following morning, Sasha joins both of them as they inspect the bank that would be their target. It is not the one where she works, which means they will not face suspicion. When they come home, they discover that Tolik has shaved his head, given that he finally got accepted for the army, which means he will not be available to rob the bank. So Oleg carries out his own plans to keep Tolik for the task. He pulls a few ties among his contacts and convinces the army to speak with Tolik and tell him it had been a mistake. Tolik is clearly upset about the turn of occurrences. Oleg comforts Tolik, promising him that once they loot the bank, he could speak to some individuals he knows to get him in after the robbery. They then head to a funeral parlor to arrange for Pavel's cremation. The staffer hands him a piece of paper to place on Pavel's chest so that if the police find him dead, they'll know where they should take him. After that, Oleg takes Sasha out for lunch at an elegant restaurant as the family observes from a distance, and Sveta sits invisibly next to the couple to keep an eye on her sister. Sasha requests Oleg to take her with him after the robbery. Then they are interrupted by the smugglers, who are eating there. They get closer as they question Oleg, and as Sasha realizes they're bad guys, she stands up and knocks them up. To avoid issues, the entire family begins to run away, prompting Sasha to lose her superpowers and eventually leave the smugglers. The strategy is eventually put into action the following day. Sveta removes her clothes before entering the bank, invisible and naked, alongside Oleg. She follows the employees around to discover all of the passwords and the safe codes, while Oleg takes a picture of the floor plan in case they have to escape. Meanwhile, Boris is bored of the sun, so decides to drive the car to a little alley to get some fresh air. That spot is just for the bank's armored trunk. When one of them arrives, they ask the family to leave. Boris refuses because it would make Sveta visible, so having nothing else to do, the guards push the vehicle away with their own truck. As Sveta emerges in front of a staff and a client who are unable to comprehend what they're observing, the family calls Oleg, who rushes outside and assists them in dragging Pavel's body so they can all get closer to Sveta again. She rapidly recovers her powers and vanishes, leading the two men who saw her to believe they were hallucinating. The family prepares to depart, but they're stopped by cops who only wish to check for them. Boris, on the other hand, believes he is a wanted guy and teleports away, unintentionally entering the cop's truck and being detained as a result. Hours later, Oleg gets him out after losing another car's payment, and once they return home, he informs the family that Boris isn't wanted and that it is all in his imagination. Furious, he yells at everybody for misbehaving and demands that they pledge not to argue or misuse their abilities again. The next day, however, they are still required to take Rita to the theater as part of the agreement. When it's her moment to perform, she notices a large audience, including individuals she knows, and experiences stage fright. Rita escapes the theater, refusing to act any longer, and when Oleg pursues her, he is apprehended by the smugglers, who hurl him around the stage while beating him brutally. Oleg tries to leave, saying he doesn't want anything going on with them, but Boris has an idea and chooses to kidnap him. When night falls, the family returns to the bank, prepared to commit an act of theft. While Pavel distracts several drunk men nearby while drinking fuel and setting his breath on fire, the rest of the family hides their faces and prepares to strike. Sasha pushes a truck in the direction of the street to conceal what they are doing, then pulls a chain Rita has attached to the window, causing a hole in the wall. Boris teleports inside, and Sasha tosses Sveta into the hole, where Rita snatches her up and flies her along with the others. Sveta then uses the code she acquired to disable the alarm, while Sasha simply carries the safe and tosses it out on the street. As the family begins to take away the money and throw it into the car, the cops arrive, but Tolik distracts them by sending the dogs after them. After collecting all of the money they can carry, they flee after picking up Pavel, who rushes away, leaving a fire in his path. They stop to enjoy their achievement. Pavel takes advantage of the opportunity to remind them them about the final half of the agreement and requests that they keep him so he can die. After everyone says their goodbyes, the family drives away, but they become distressed when they see Pavel's body fall dead and come back to assist him. Pavel refuses to accept this, yelling at them and reminding them that this is what he wants. Pavel warns them that he has phoned the police to locate his soon-to-be dead body, so his family departs completely this time. Sveta feels profound sorrow after seeing her grandfather's death, and she refuses to accept the money when Oleg begins splitting it several hours later, insisting that they return it. Oleg refuses, so Sveta throws him out of the car, saying she no longer wants to be with him. Given that the family has not changed, Oleg leaves and goes about his business. He gives the smugglers what he owes them, then hides the rest of the cash by taping it to his body beneath his clothes. When he arrives at the airport, ready to leave the country, he discovers on the news that the family has been detained for trying to recover Pavel's body from the funeral home. He attempts to ignore it, but once on the aircraft, he refuses to accept the guilt and rushes to town to aid them. His first destination is the funeral parlor, where he tries to bribe the employee to return the body. Given the high demand for Pavel, the man demands $1 million and refuses to accept any of the cheaper offers Oleg makes. Because he has no other option, Oleg pays off all of his remaining funds and accompanies Pavel to the courtroom where the entire family is on trial. As soon as they step inside, everyone regains their powers and the destruction starts. Boris teleports to escape from the cage, and as he and Pavel start to beat people up, Sasha breaks the cage and lets her siblings out. They knock down many cops, and now that they've all been reunited, Boris realizes that this strange plot formally makes Oleg a member of the family. A group of armed officers is waiting for them outside. Then they steal a car and race away. However, the cops quickly begin chasing them across the city. Boris teleports into one of the police cars to force them to drive away. Sasha moves some of the cars with her super strength, and when they are driven through a vegetable stall, the mirror is cleaned by Oleg with the water from his finger. Sasha uses her strength once more to aid the car make a quick turn, causing the police vehicles to collide, leaving only one vehicle to follow them. They ultimately escape when Rita stands up and pulls the vehicle up as she flies away, causing the car to float along with her. Afterward, the family meets the smugglers and pays them to hide them in one of their containers, allowing them to escape to Thailand. We really hope you enjoyed today's recap of the movie Superfamily. Please leave a comment below on what you loved about the movie and why. Be sure to like the video, and please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss any amazing content. Until next time, light, camera, action. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.